Welcome to India First, where we bring you the real stories behind international headlines. Today, we're discussing the ongoing tension between India and Canada. It's an important issue for every Indian, both at home and abroad. So, let's break it down clearly and fairly. It all started with a shocking allegation from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, claiming India was involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a known supporter of the Khalistan separatist movement. Yes, you heard that right, Trudeau is suggesting that India had something to do with Nijjar's death. Now, who was Hardeep Singh Nijjar? Nijjar was a Canadian citizen, but more importantly for us, he was a wanted man in India. India had declared him a terrorist in 2020 because of his involvement in violent extremist activities linked to the Khalistan movement, a dangerous separatist agenda that seeks to divide India. He was actively supporting and promoting this extremist movement from Canada. And here's the crux of the issue. Despite India's clear warnings, Nijjar and other pro-Khalistan elements were allowed to operate freely on Canadian soil. Canada, under the guise of free speech, has been a safe haven for such anti-India activities.
When I spoke with Prime Minister Modi at the end of last week, I highlighted how incredibly important the meeting between our national security advisors in Singapore this weekend was going to be. He told me that he was aware of that meeting. I impressed upon him that it needed to be taken very, very seriously.
This morning,
the RCMP and the presser said.
Fast forward to June 2023. Nijjar was killed outside a Sikh temple in Surrey, British Columbia. Instead of focusing on the criminal investigation, Trudeau came out in September accusing India of orchestrating this killing, calling it credible intelligence. But where is this so-called intelligence? No evidence, no proof, just wild accusations. And naturally, India strongly rejected these baseless claims. India responded swiftly, calling Trudeau's statements absurd and politically motivated. You see, Trudeau is dealing with a minority government in Canada, and he depends on support from the Sikh community, some of whom are sympathetic to the Khalistan cause. Is it really surprising that he would stoke these fires with such claims? What happened next? Canada expelled an Indian diplomat, and India, of course, retaliated by expelling a Canadian diplomat. Diplomatic ties started to crumble. Trade talks between the two countries were suspended, and India even halted visa services for Canadians. The message was clear. India will not tolerate false accusations or interference in its internal matters. And let's not forget what happened during the G20 summit in New Delhi. When Trudeau met Prime Minister Modi, the tension was visible. Modi gave Trudeau a reality check, reminding him that India would never allow foreign interference in its domestic affairs, especially when it comes to national security and sovereignty. India has always been clear. The Khalistan issue is a matter of national security, not just political posturing. Trudeau, instead of acknowledging the dangerous activities of Khalistani extremists in his country, chose to escalate the matter, even though Canada has been warned time and again about the threats these groups pose to India. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Canada's economy depends heavily on Indian students, trade, and investments. This diplomatic fallout is already affecting visa services and people-to-people ties, and it could have much bigger consequences if Canada continues down this reckless path. For years, Canada has been a breeding ground for anti-India rhetoric, and now it's paying the price. Trudeau's allegations have not only damaged bilateral relations but also shown that Canada is willing to harbor those who wish to destabilize India. So, where do we stand today? The situation is still unfolding, but one thing is clear. India will defend its sovereignty, and the Indian government will not bow to external pressure, especially when it comes to fighting extremism. Let's be honest here. Trudeau's reckless accusations have hurt Canada's credibility on the world stage. It's time for Canada to wake up and act against these extremists who are hiding under the banner of free speech while threatening the peace and security of another nation. That's all for today's India Insight. Stay tuned as we continue to cover this important story. Let's remember, our nation's integrity and security are non-negotiable. Jai Hind.